Hey, it's Don Skaggs again with Empowered Inventing, where we help you help other people by taking innovation and opportunity and turning them into real things like products and businesses. Now, a lot of you out there might not be aware of an old musical group out there called the Osmonds. Now, maybe some of you have heard of Donny Osmond or Marie Osmond, and while this isn't really my cup of tea as far as musical entertainment, I was enamored over the years with their story of the Osmonds. And if you're not familiar, they were it was a bunch of brothers, this family, and several brothers and one sister, I believe, was Marie Osmond. And they were a musical group, very popular in the 70s, kind of all the rage back then. Before, you know, a lot of you guys out there were born probably, and that's all right, but maybe you have heard about them before. But either way, again, not my cup of tea, not really my genre of music, but the story of what they were called in the music industry, that story just really has always stuck out for me. And the nickname that they used to have in the recording industry they called them the one-take Osmonds. And I want you to think about that for just a minute. They were the one-take Osmonds, and the reasons why they call them the one-take Osmonds, because you'd go in and they'd perform. And, you know, the cameras would be rolling and the microphones would be on, and a lot of groups would come in to record their music or record their performances, and they'd have to yell, "Cut." Okay, we messed that part up. I do that when I do these videos sometimes. You'll see the little cuts in between. I gotta go check my notes. And I don't like doing that, by the way, but these videos are a little different than a lot of the other presentations I do. So anyway, but they, unlike a lot of these other groups, they had to yell, "Cut," you know, okay, we messed that part up, we flubbed that part, okay, let's go back and cut this out and start over. They called them the one-take Osmonds because they would come in and they would do it start to finish perfectly in one take of the camera, of the microphones, of whatever. And did they do that because they had superpowers? Did they do that because they were just better or more talented than everybody else? No, that wasn't it. It was because they practiced. Practice. Now I want to talk to you about when we're communicating the idea of our invention, our idea, our product, or our startup. And I've done a lot of these pitch competitions. I've won pitch competitions. I think they're really, really good practice for communicating your idea. I don't think they're an end unto themselves. We got a whole other video about that, by the way. If you've not checked that out, you need to. But when you're presenting things, and there was this one in particular one I was doing a presentation for a product, a startup, and they had two ways they were voting. They had, you know, the kind of the Simon Cowell vote of the judges, and then they had this other vote was the audience participation votes. And the audience would get on their phones and they would vote, okay, this is the best one, this is the best one. And my pitch, they told me, got the highest rating by the people in the audience watching me than any other one in the history of them doing these pitch competitions, which I just thought was high marks, and that was great. But there was a reason why I know I got those high marks. Not because I was talented, but because I practiced. I practiced so well, and it was a PowerPoint behind me, and it was me with the clicker, and I never looked back once, but I knew every syllable that I needed to hit the next slide for, so it just ran perfectly. And am I saying you need to do it that way? No, not necessarily. But I'm saying you have to be practiced enough with your pitch, with your communication. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't matter whether you are talking to an audience of people, you're pitching or talking or communicating your idea to a large audience, kind of like we are on YouTube today, or if you're just talking one-on-one to one person and you're presenting, you're pitching. Well, tell me, you know, because you never know what impromptu meeting you're going to have where you will walk up to somebody and they say, oh, well, that's interesting. Tell me about your startup. Tell me about your company. Tell me about this new product that you have. I'm interested to know. And all of a sudden you're on. And do you ever get into that situation and all of a sudden you're a deer in the headlights? Don't do that. And there's a way to protect yourself from doing that, and that is by being so practiced and so well prepared that it just flows out because you know it. Not because you've practiced it to where it's just rote, but because you have practiced it, it becomes a part of you and you understand it. And it just flows when it comes out. So you have to, don't be unprepared. Don't be a deer in the headlights. Be a one-take Osmond. Again, I'm Don Skaggs. This is empoweredinventing.com, and I will look to see you at the next meeting, workshop, class, or on the next video.